Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys, and I have a special guest who might make some appearances, probably for some XFL review because that's what we're going to do. I know I'm like 2 weeks behind in terms of XFL, but I thought about doing an XFL, you know, really podcast slash thoughts because it's looking like it's going to be a really good league, and it looks like if they can keep it up, it can be sustainable. This video, like you can see in the title, it's gonna be a power rankings and predictions. So we're gonna give our thoughts, me and my friend Matt, our thoughts on all the on the eight XFL teams, where they rank in terms of power rankings, and then we're gonna give our predictions for this week's, which is week three's upcoming games this Saturday and Sunday. Um, as for week recaps, I don't know if we'll do it that Sunday night or just the following Monday. Obviously, it's got to be best accustomed to both our schedules. Obviously, that's going to happen. So we'll work this thing out throughout the process, but expect XFL's content now, since it's pretty entertaining and it kind of keeps us talking about something sports related because other than that, that's really it. The only other sports thing you can look forward to if you are an NBA fan, I will be talking about the Clippers since we are at the halfway point. So if you're a Clippers fan or if you're just an NBA fan in general and get my thoughts on the Clippers, which is my favorite NBA team, you can check that out, which will probably go up sometime this week before their first game for the start the second half of the season. But anyways, week two in the XFL. It was a pretty good week, if you ask me. A lot of eventful games, other than the first game we got. But other than that, we're gonna jump right into our power rankings, and I think for number 8, I think we can both agree that the Tampa Bay Vipers are obviously dead last because God, they're terrible.
Yeah,
Um,
they're averaging they're averaging 10 a game, and they're giving up 20 a game. So
and then they got like some kind of quarterback
they
issue.
got like Aaron Murray from Georgia. He played at Georgia, and then they have this like Cornelius kid from Oklahoma State.
Taylor Cornelius,
Yeah, and then they have who I think should start is Quentin Flowers, that
Quentin
kid from
Fowles.
USF.
Uh-huh.
But they said they want to use him as like a more
A
of a
gadget guy.
yeah, like a Taysom Hill type of guy. But I'd like to see him get some like actual snaps in like
Uh-huh.
a regular quarterback position and see what he can do.
The Tampa Bay Vipers offense looks pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Mark Trestman, and if you know me as a Bears fan, he was one of the coaches for the Bears that literally turned our offense to legit crap, even though he was hyped up to be such a offensive guru. It seems like his offense is only work in the CFL.
Yeah. He
So
wasn't even doing that good there with Toronto. So
well, he won like 2 cups over there.
he wasn't doing past 2 years in Toronto. I know that.
Well, some unless Mark Trestman, his stuff has passed him by. He has not had a good NFL career, and so far to kick off in only 2 weeks, he has a terrible XFL career because this Tampa Bay Vipers offense is legit, if not the worst offense right now
Oh,
in
they
the
are the
league.
worst, I think.
This team is not good. Now, defensive wise, they're decent. Or I would say it's much better than the offense. But then again, you can say that about every XFL team so far.
Yeah.
But this team has an obvious quarterback issue, and they need to commit to one of these three guys. Now, Aaron Murray, I don't know if he'll be playing this upcoming week because of his injury. But if he does, um, I don't know. I don't like the whole fact that they're switching quarterbacks in and out because there was one part of the Seattle Dragons game when Taylor Cornelius, he had something going on this drive, and then they took him out for Clinton Flowers, and then that totally killed the momentum on that drive, and it resulted them only, I think, getting like 6 points off, like 3 points off that one drive. Yeah, they're right now they're the worst team. I know their next game is against the freaking one of the top teams in the league, which is the Houston Roughnecks,
Yeah, they're
and
playing Houston
it
next.
looks like they're gonna start the season 0-3 unless they somehow turn it around. So I'm sorry, Tampa Bay, you got to deal with the Buccaneers. Now you got the Vipers that ain't doing anything. Anything else you would like to talk about?
I know I agree. They need to make a decision with one of the quarterbacks and stick with them. And I don't think it's going to be Flowers, but Aaron Murray was a really good quarterback. He played in the SEC, so I think so I think they could roll with him and see how it goes.
Obviously, Mark Trestman has to do a better job at play calling for the offense as well too. I would also say run the ball a little bit more. It looks like they need to run it if for these quarterbacks that are I guess average at best, but who knows? We'll see how they progress over the weeks. But in my predictions, we'll give our predictions for.
I mean, like the running backs for them, they have They have a running back named Devon Smith. Devon Smith, he's first in yards after contact, and then Jackie's Patrick is third in the league in yards after contact. Mm-hmm. So they have a run game. It's just they had to figure it out a little bit.
I will also say they gotta also limit the turnovers too.
Yeah, because
there was many times in the Seattle Dragons game where it looked like they had the upper edge, and then they would throw a dumb interception. Like one of the dumbest ones was when Cornelius literally underthrew his receiver, and that was an easy pick for the Seattle Dragons. Yeah. And then I guess you can't blame Quentin Flowers, but at the same time, he could have at least moved the pocket a little bit more or threw the ball higher. And that was when the defensive end for the Seattle Dragons, he literally ripped that away from that screen pass and literally walked in for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah. So we're gonna move on to the seventh team. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think I'm gonna go with the. I think I might go with the seventh best team right now as the New York Guardians. The reason why I say this is because the New York Guardians got embarrassed by DC last week, as well as now when you factor in the win they had against the Vipers in week 1, it doesn't look all that impressive when the Vipers look like they're going to be probably the worst team in the league. One, their offense was literally anemic. And yes, they had offensive line issues, but Matt McGloin didn't help them out either. There was many times in the game where they could have scored a touchdown or hit the home run ball deep, and Matt McGloin literally missed his receivers wide open, and all they had to do was catch it and walk in for a touchdown.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, like I said, LA's 0-2, but still, I'm going to go with New York just because, they beat Tampa Bay 23-3 week 1, but Tampa Bay, I don't see them winning a game this year, to be honest with you. And then last week, they couldn't 27-0 against DC. I mean, DC's a very good team and stuff, but I like LA more. LA's got Josh Johnson back now.
Yeah.
But like you said, McGloin, he's got experience in the NFL, but I don't see him being a long-term solution. If the XFL, say, goes even just 3 years down the road, I don't see him being their quarterback for much longer.
And then when you think about it, their defense got literally gashed. And I know it's against a really good DC team who has a lot of good, players around them, around Cardale Jones, but they got gashed.
Yeah.
And technically, really, if you look back to that week 1 matchup against the Vipers, they had those turnovers in the red zone to prevent the Vipers from even scoring a point in that game sometimes. And, it's not impressive. And then Matt McGloin literally lashing out at coaches and other players. It's not a good look. And I'm predicting that maybe Damian Williams, that's his name, the backup quarterback from...
Wait for New York?
Yeah. The backup, what I feel like he might get to start week 3 because I don't see how you can literally trash your entire staff as a starting quarterback and I guess live to see, the spot of day to get a starting job.
They have Luis Perez and Marquise Williams.
Marquise Williams.
He's from North Carolina.
The crazy thing is when I was listening to the broadcast, guess who he started over? Like I said, if you're a Bears fan, he started over Mitchell Trubisky. So Mitchell Trubisky, you couldn't start over Marquise Williams. Okay. Anyways, I have a feeling that Marquise Williams might get the start in week 3 because of Matt McGloin's, little verb break he went on. And I just feel like that's not good. And I don't see how you can reward a guy's starting spot after you pull a stunt like that. So yeah, it's looking like I said, even New York don't have a good football team either. But as the weeks progress, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, maybe they just caught a bad timing. Like they said, their O line was basically beat up, where they had backups literally playing in there. But at the same time, your backups got to at least put up a bit of a fight. So obviously the next
Yeah.
team is, which is six. That's going to be the LA Wildcats, which is
Yeah.
my favorite XFL team. They had a really good game against the Dallas Renegades. Um, Obviously they did a much better job than they did in the first week against Houston. So,
Yeah, I think a big thing has to do with that. Not to cut you off, is their quarterback Josh Johnson came
mhm.
back. They started off with this kid named something Knopf, and he was from like Princeton or something like that.
Yeah. And Connacht didn't do well. He did pretty fine in the first half, but when Houston, had that half to prepare and see everything, they kind of shut down LA. And I guess you can also say, them firing the defensive coordinator, I guess helped a bit. Their coach Winston Moss, who now calls the defensive plays, I thought he did a decent job at the defense, at calling the defense, because even though Landry Jones had over 300 yards passing, they still made him force at least two
Yeah.
interceptions, and then they caused a few fumbles now and then.
Yeah.
So obviously the defense was much better because they played much more inspiring. Now, could you say that was because of the home crowd or because Winston Moss fired them up? Obviously, that could be a factor. But
Definitely when Josh Johnson helps too, get them a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
motivated. Yeah.
The offense looks much better with Josh Johnson. Watching the game, I would say Josh Johnson say need to improve a little bit on the accuracy. There was this one time where he had a guy wide open. He just
Yeah.
overshot him, and that would have been a walk-in touchdown. And we're seeing that a lot this
Yeah.
in the season. But then again, at the same time, it's these offenses just learning themselves out. And yes, you can say maybe that's because of lack of practices, but still at the same time, you got to say, well, if that's going to be a wide open receiver, you got to hit
Yeah.
him.
I agree with you.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but Josh Johnson, for a quarterback who's pretty much been around the NFL for a long periods of time, he did pretty good, and he really shocked me. And obviously, I think LA is only going to get better as they play. I do like their receiver Spruce. He was really good, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been one of their best players this season. So like I said, LA can improve. We'll see as the league weeks progress. Now they play DC. They could also end up 0-3 as well,
Yeah.
but we'll
Okay.
talk more about
Yeah.
that in the predictions. Next up, which would be
5.
5. I gotta go with, I believe it's Seattle.
Yeah. I'm going with Dallas at 5.
Okay. I would say Seattle. My reason why I'd say Seattle, but um, we can do Dallas, but I can put Dallas at 5. I can put Dallas at 5. The reason why I put Dallas at 5, and I'm actually changing up, I'm going to put Dallas at 5. And the reason why I choose Dallas at 5, because in that LA game, they struggled legit for 3 quarters. And it really took them a while till the, the tail end of the fourth quarter to eventually find the LA Wildcats' weakness, which was essentially running the ball with essentially counter plays and stuff Cameron Artis Payne came up with, and he did run the ball really well. I guess their offense, for the most part, was pretty stagnant and much more stagnant than it was in week 1 against the Battlehawks.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Landry Jones, to be honest with you, at quarterback for Dallas. St. Louis, okay, St. Louis is a good team actually. So them only losing to St. Louis by 6 is not a big deal. But what I'm saying is them only beating L.A. by 7. That's big. I
Hmm.
think. I feel like if they pull away a little bit more in that game, maybe just it just isn't a good look, and I just have a little more trust in Seattle than I do Dallas right now.
Okay. I would also say this team looks like it needs to run the ball more than pass it, so they don't put Landry Jones where he's turning the ball over. And it looks like if they get that strong running game with Cameron Artis Payne and who's his backup? Um, I forgot his backup, but the other running back for for the Renegades. If they really have that 1-2 punch going where the run cannot be stopped, they can be a pretty crazy offense, and that's when you can open up the pass for Landry Jones to take shots. Now there were some chances where Landry Jones had like a receiver open, he just overthrew him.
Yeah, and Dallas does have a good line because they averaged 2.3 yards per carry. That's before contact even. So, and that's the best right now in the NFL or XFL, excuse me. So that's big.
I guess I would also stay worried about Landry Jones' little knee injury because he did run the ball and it looked like he was limping more than running. Now I don't know if that's because the brace is hindering him, but he doesn't look all too healthy. Just from the standpoint, he looks like literally just a regular pocket passing quarterback. Now he did take chances to run when he had to run, but I don't know. I was just saying, watch out for that knee injury. The defense looked pretty good for the most part. They shut down the Wildcats when they needed to be, stopped, and when they needed to get the stops, especially at the end when the Wildcats had one more drive to possibly end up tying the game or maybe even winning it if they wanted to win it. They really locked down defensively and got the pressure on them. So Renegades, they look like an okay team on the cusp. I still feel like I got to see more from them. But who knows? Maybe that's that team that can just get that hot streak. Otherwise, they just go cold for periods of the game. So anyways,
Though.
next up would be Seattle. Now, I'll give credit to Seattle's fan base. They showed up like it was a Seahawks game.
They did.
Ultimately, not where they didn't pack the stadium, but they said there was like 30,000 people there.
That's awesome too.
So that's great for the XFL if Seattle's going to give a presence like that. Seattle, they're still a little shaky to me. Brandon Silvers that's the quarterback. I'm kind of, to be honest, not feeling him. He's got some work to be done. Yeah. But the potential's obviously there.
I mean, I agree. Seattle only beat Tampa Bay by 8 this week, but week 1 only losing to DC 31-19. That's why I have a lot of faith in them. And what is it? They've only allowed 0.1 yards before contact per rush this year, which is that's pretty impressive. I mean, they get the D tackle Will Sutton and their linebacker Steven Johnson, and they get Marcel Frazier.
Yeah.
So they have some players that are really tough on the defense side of the ball, which is a big thing in this XFL, I believe.
And also when you factor in that crowd noise, we all know how that helps the Seattle Seahawks in a bunch of those games in Century League Field. It helped them a lot in that game because they literally made that Vipers offense inept.
Yeah.
But Seattle is looking pretty good. I say they got to be another team that runs the ball a lot. I do like Prohl, and I do like the running back too. And I think if Brandon Silvers comes into his own, he can actually take this offense somewhere.
I agree.
But Jim Zorn, he's doing a good job. So obviously it's nice to see. I would say next up, third, would be St. Louis.
Yes, I'm big on their quarterback Jordan
Ta'amu.
He's athletic. I like the way he plays. I mean, what was it? They played week 1. They beat Dallas 15-9, and then this past week they only lost to Houston by 4. And Houston's my number 1 team. So
yeah, and if Ta'amu doesn't throw, I guess, 2, I would say, crazy picks. Now maybe the first one wasn't as bad, but that's definitely the second one. If he didn't throw the second one at an inopportune time, they might have actually made the comeback and pulled the upset against Houston because they made Houston's offense in the second half literally do nothing. I'm liking where St. Louis is going, and Ta'amu is pretty good for being so young. And if he keeps it up, who knows? Maybe some NFL teams can look at him and be like, let's give this kid a shot.
Oh, I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Their defense looks really good.
Yeah.
They took it to Houston when they needed to take it. Like I said, they shut them down completely in the second half. If it wasn't for the pick, they might have actually came back and won the game. Who's their coach again?
Seattle's coach is I got St. Louis.
St. Louis's coach. Because I really like him. He is really good.
Yeah, they have Jonathan Hayes. Yeah,
Jonathan Hayes. He's actually,
he used to play tight end.
he's starting to become one of my favorite coaches in the XFL. He's really doing a good job because he holds his players accountable and he's not tolerating nothing. And, he looks like he's going to be a great teacher for these group of guys. So next, you put the Houston Roughnecks as your number one.
Yes, so I have DC at 2.
This is where we're gonna differ.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put Houston as number 2 in my power rankings because they had a dominant performance week 1, but week 2 was a little bit stagnant. And this is the thing. They had a really strong first half, and I like PJ Walker. He's a great quarterback. He
was with pulling a bunch of practice squad for a little bit, so he's gonna get a shot in the NFL, I think.
Now in the second half, that offense was inept, albeit the defense was still doing good against the Battlehawks and stuff like that. I would say they're number 2 from the standpoint. I feel like if their offense goes cold and say the opposing offense gets hot, that could cost them some, games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big June Jones guy. Their head coach, June Jones. He runs great in the CFL. So I'm a big June Jones guy, and I definitely have Houston at 1, DC at 2, and I know it's only early, but I could really see that being the championship in the XFL. And that'd be they play. I think it's week 6.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that game. That's it. I think I want both of them going to that game like undefeated. That'd be pretty cool. I think.
But that's my number 2. I guess you can explain DC as your number 2.
Yeah. I have DC at 2. Like I said, they had a big win over New York, 27-0. Beat Seattle 31-19. I know we were talking about how Seattle, they're our 4 spot, so it's not bad. And it's not that DC's bad. It's just that I think Houston has a better resume. I know we're saying they beat LA, who's a 6 seed, but they beat St. Louis this week. So I'm big on St. Louis. Like I'm big. And I was even thinking I'm not even joking. Might have had St. Louis. They're real close to DC when I had it too. So I think that's why it's just more of Houston. I think being better, not even DC being bad. I'm a big Cardell Jones fan too for DC, and I think he's playing great. And I think he's another quarterback who should and will get a shot in the NFL after this XFL season, if not the next one.
Okay, so my number 1 is obviously DC. Matt said it all. I'm liking where they're going. They obviously look like, I would say, the most complete team in the XFL, if you ask me. And I feel like it's going to be based on what Pep Hamilton calls, as well as how much the players play and how much, because the defense is looking stout. I think it's also based on how Cardell Jones plays and how he distributes the ball to his wide receivers. And also, I got to give prep. Who's that one receiver who lost his mother in the week and couldn't attempt?
Oh, I forget.
But shout out to that guy. He literally went out there and skipped his mother's funeral. I don't think I could have done that.
I couldn't have done that, so props to him.
So obviously he wants to go out there with his team and, support when he could have just been at his mom's funeral because that's literally his mother. But props to him. But DC, I think they're the best team because they're the most complete team, and they're looking good so far. They've had, a dominant performance, and they had a really nice, tough, gritty win against Seattle. They do play LA next week, which I think can be tough because we'll be the first game on the road. So we'll see how they do on the road.
Since I have to go now, we're gonna just go through real quick week 3. I'm gonna announce the matchups and we're just gonna say who we think will win. And then next week when I have more time, we'll get more in depth into this stuff and it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
So we have a Houston versus Tampa Bay, and I'm gonna go definitely with Houston here.
Yeah, Houston. I got Houston in a blowout.
Yeah, I agree. Then we got Dallas and Seattle, and the winner of this is going to be in second place in the West. Basically control their own destiny to get that 2 spot in the playoff no matter what.
Where's that being held at?
I believe it's being held in Seattle.
Okay.
But I'm still going to go with Seattle, even if it wasn't Dallas. I'm going to go with Seattle.
I'll go with Seattle.
In a close one, though.
Yeah, I'll go with Seattle in a close game, like maybe a 3-point game.
Then we got New York and St. Louis. I'm going with St. Louis. I said I'm a big St. Louis guy with Jordan at QB. I like him a lot. Big fan of him. And then they got, what were we saying though?
I'm going with St. Louis, and because one, they're gonna be the first football game back in that, and I think Edward Jones Stadium, the
Mm-hmm.
former Ram Stadium. So obviously there's gonna be a huge crowd there. I got Houston in that one, especially
St. Louis.
or St. Louis in that one, especially if Matt LeGloin is starting again.
And then we got DC and LA, and in this one I'm gonna go again, obviously with DC.
I'm gonna go with DC as much as it pains me as a Wildcats fan. I think this game could be close, but I could also see this game being a
I think
blowout.
it's gonna be a blowout, truthfully.
But we'll see. We'll see. Wildcats did have a good performance against Dallas, but we'll see.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I got to go next week. There's gonna be a lot. We'll have a lot more topics, so it'll go a little bit longer than with this week. It was kind of a spur of the moment type of idea here, but it was a good time, and I'll be back definitely next week. It's a good time.
All right. So if you guys like this video, leave a like. If there's something you want to put in the comment section about your power ranking and which team should be listed, put that in the comment section. Also, hit that subscribe button for more XFL content. And, if you want to follow my Bears content, hit that too, because the draft's coming up and stuff like that. But other than that, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys on the next video. So you guys have a great night and peace.